hold us back. No weather's holding us back. We win in this. This is great. And I want to thank Jackson Dart. This is going to be a future Hall of Famer in my book. Thank you. Thank you, Jackson. Great. Right. A lot of talent. And a very special hello to a place that I really do love. It's called New York. I got to straighten this place out. But I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible state with the proud, hardworking patriots of, did you ever hear of Rockland County? Rockland County? So I was born and raised in New York State, and my heart has always been here. I love this place, so we got to straighten it out. We got to get it back. We got to get it back. We're not going to let this happen. And we're sending a lot of money your way. We're going to get it back, but we need talent. That's why we have some of the people that you see right here. We have a lot of talent, a lot of political talent. From the beginning, this was a symbol of American excellence and American grit, and really the American dream. And New Yorkers are people who built Wall Street into the world's financial capital, who turned Broadway into the heart of American culture and entertainment, who dug the Erie Canal. You know what the Erie Canal is, big stuff, and launched 1,000 innovations that built really the middle class of our country. He really built the country. Unfortunately, in recent years, this state's been held back by bad policies, bad politicians, and foolish radical left idiocy. It's crazy what's going on. But under the Trump administration, we're doing everything we can to bring New York back and bigger, better, stronger than ever before. And I'll introduce him in a second, but you have a guy named Bruce Blakeman. Let me just say, he's a friend of mine for a long time. He won in landslides in Nassau County. If you know Nassau County, it's all Democrat. He's a Republican, and he won in landslides. And he just had the biggest election in the history of Nassau County as a Republican. And he's very conservative, by the way. I don't want to scare you. He's right here, Bruce. I'm going to introduce you in a second. You better get ready, Bruce. He's going to win. He's going to win. You know, when he ran years ago, he ran in Nassau. They said, you got to be kidding. It doesn't happen. No Republican wins in Nassau. And he ran and he won. And you better watch yourself. You better watch yourself, Kathy. You've got a race. Got a big race. So we're going to start turning New York around. I'm going to work with Bruce. I'm going to work with the whole group in New York. We're going to work with Mike. Mike Lawler's fantastic. He's fantastic. He is a fantastic. I call him Mr. Salt. He didn't stop. He wouldn't stop. He was driving us crazy. We have to get salt. We have to get salt back. And he got it back. And he's a terrific guy. And you're lucky to have him. I'll tell you. He loves you. He loves this place. Mike. Great. Great, Mike. It's terrible things are happening. However, we have to take the good with the bad. Companies are leaving. Rich people are leaving. People that pay a lot of money. All these rich companies, big, fat, beautiful companies, they have jobs and they have money, and they're leaving, and nobody's stopping them from leaving. New York can never, if we don't stop this, and I'm for you, and I'm helping you in Washington much more than I'm supposed to be helping you, believe me, New York can never be the same if it's losing its tax base, and the people that pay 85% of the taxes are leaving. And we're taking in illegal immigrants. So they're wonderful people and all, but they're not paying any tax. They're taking your money. They're taking your money. The people that pay 85 to 90% of your taxes are leaving. And you know, when they go, they never come back. They never come back. Nobody calls them. Nobody does anything. Nobody talks to them. Nobody says, please don't leave. We'll give you a tax rebate. We'll do anything. Don't leave. But they're leaving. They're going to Florida. They're going to Tennessee. They're going to Texas. They're going to South Carolina, North Carolina. They're going all over the place, but they're leaving, and we can't let it happen. It's a great place. We can't Bruce will stop it. Mike will stop it. They're all going to stop it. They'll bring them back. On top of that, the streets are dirty. The crime is out of control. We have a family here that's so incredible. Really, two families. We have somebody else. We're giving them the Presidential Medal of Freedom, something we've never done for this reason, but the mother is here of a great young man, and we're going to give him a very special honor. The illegal aliens are all over the place. The people are getting shot left and right. The elections are rigged. They don't have voter ID. They don't have proof of citizenship. Think of it. We want to get the Save America Act passed now. Think of the Save America Act. It's voter ID. Who's against voter ID? You ever see the Democrat National Convention? I call it the Democrat. They're Democrat. But you ever see it? They have cards on them for the Democrat National Convention, cards like bigger than your chest, name, address, everything you want to know about a person. They might even have a social security number on it. They have, that's to get into their convention. But for voting, you're allowed to go in, right? It's horrible. So it's voter ID. It's proof, a little thing called proof of citizenship. And it's mail-in voting is a disaster. If you have military, if you're going to be away, if you're not feeling well, if you're in any way disabled, absolutely we have it. We'll be very generous, but generally you got to go and vote. Otherwise, it's a rigged system. And that, in a nutshell, is the Save America Act. Not very complicated. Think of it, voter ID. Think of it, voter ID, proof of citizenship, and mail-in ballots are gone except if you need it. Now, I added two best ofs. No men playing in women's sports. That's nothing to do with it. No men. Like, I'm looking at Jackson. I'd like to know, is there any woman in the audience that thinks they can tackle that guy? Because I'd like to meet you. I'd like to shake your hand. I don't know. Jackson, do you think you could play against women okay? Do you think you'd have any problem? I don't think so. What? Don't get involved, Jackson. Don't get involved, Jackson. Don't answer that question. Now I'm looking at the legs. He's this beautiful guy. He's got legs like tree trunks. This is not a good thing for women. This would not be good. No, it's no good. And we don't want open borders where prisoners pour in from other countries all over the world. They pour in. We don't want open borders. We don't want sanctuary cities where you have sanctuary for criminals. We don't want it. We don't want transgender mutilization of your children, if that's okay. We don't want it. But, you know, I looked at a story, I read a story yesterday where the pharmacies, they're going out of this. They have glass all over the place. You want toothpaste. You have to open up, you have to get a clerk to open up the thing, and they open and they hand them a toothpaste. And in the meantime, other people are waiting to steal it. They got the guy, they were saying a guy right here, Mr. Lutnick said, Mr. Lutnick, he's a rich guy, but he was in a store. And he noticed when he was in a drugstore, the people were with duffel bags. They're putting crap in a duffel bag and walking. And the clerk says, you're not supposed to be doing that. And the kid said, the hell with you, walks out. And if the clerk does anything at all, they arrest the clerk. How screwed up is our country? How the hell do you make your money if you got to open up glass, expensive glass, to give somebody a toothbrush? Or to give somebody some toothpaste? That does not sound like a good business model. So you have empty stores. The whole thing, we got to change it. Now, the way you stop that, you know how you stop that? You come down hard on those people. Hard. In one day, You solve that problem all over the country. You just come down so hard that they never forget it and they'll never do it again. They'll never do it again. It's horrible. What's happening is horrible. And it's all in the blue cities, you know, it's all blue. The 25 worst cities are blue. Blue means Democrat. That's a new name I came up with. You've never heard. I was thinking about this character we have in the House. His name is Hakeem Jeffries. And he's a low IQ person, very low IQ. And I watched what he was saying and what the horrible things he was saying. And I said, he's a dumb guy. I said, wait a minute, he's a Democrat. That's how I got the name. You take the E out, you don't use the B. A lot of people don't know dumb has the B in it, actually. You don't need it. You discard the B. But you take the E out and you replace it with a U. They're dumb. They are Democrats. You know why? Because their policies are dumb. Their policies are very dumb. All of their policies. Did you see they did an autopsy on why they lost the election? And they said you lost the election because of Trump primarily. But other than Trump, you lost the election because you had crappy candidates and you had bad policy and they didn't know how to speak properly and they weren't smart people and various other reasons. They spent $10 million for the autopsy. It was called an autopsy. And they had typos, Jackson. They had typos in every other sentence. They had misspelled words. They had commas in the wrong location. They gave him $10 million for the autopsy. I could have given him the autopsy without any charge at all. I said, you had one candidate named Sleepy Joe Biden. What's a better name? Sleepy Joe Biden or Crooked Joe Biden? Ready? Who likes Sleepy Joe Biden? Who likes Crooked Joe Biden? About pretty similar. They're both pretty good. Who likes Crooked Hillary? Oh, she's good. Anyway. But you know, we have another problem because we have the great law enforcement. I met a lot of your law enforcement back there. They're incredible. But law enforcement, I love them. I got 99% of law enforcement vote. Can you believe it? And we're trying to figure out who were the 1%. We want to figure out who the hell were the 1%. Who would vote for Kamala? Who would vote for Sleepy Joe? But even the police are leaving. They're going to Florida, Tennessee, Texas. They're going all over the place where they put them, really, where they give them respect. The respect, they have our respect. They have everybody in this room's respect. But it's this radical turnaround, and we better do it fast because we're not going to have a New York left, and we got to have New York left. And you really can. Guys like Mike Lawler, guys like Bruce Blakeman, you put them in the turnaround. Bruce will go down to Florida and he'll talk to all those companies that are leaving. You'll get them to come back. He's going to get them back. It's not easy. It's a lot easier to stop them from leaving, don't you think, Bruce? So, but it's a campaign that I promised that I would cut taxes. I had a beautiful campaign. We won in a landslide. We won every swing state. We won by millions of votes. We won the Electoral College and a fortune. But we had another thing that we won. 86% of the counties in America. Think of it. That's why the map is all red except for 2 blue stripes. And those were rigged, by the way. They were rigged. They were rigged. We had rigged elections. But I cut your taxes and cut the taxes on workers, families, small business who are the soul of this state. And I made special promises that I would save you thousands of dollars a year. And we did that, your state and local tax deductions, and what did we say? Your SALT deduction. We brought it back. Mr. Salt, where's your hat, Mike? He's got a hat calling himself Mr. Salt. There it is. Beautiful. I think I'll take one of them. But he didn't stop. This guy was yes, it was terrible. He didn't stop. But he did. You're lucky to have him in this community, I can tell you. And you had some good help from Republicans, right? Good help from Republicans. So with the help of your great congressman, it's what happened. We got your taxes cut, not only from the standpoint of salt, but your taxes were cut, your take-home pay is soared, and all of the other things that we did. When you look at what we've done, and my motto was promises made, promises kept. And here in Rockland County, the typical owner, your typical homeowner loses over $15,000 each year alone because of your state taxes. They're going to cut your state taxes in half and more than half. They will do things that you won't believe. And the bottom line is the state itself will make more money than it made before I did it. I cut tremendous amounts of taxes in my first term. We had the greatest, most successful economy in history. And by the way, we're blowing it away in this term. So today, we just, an amazing thing happened. They said it couldn't happen for 4 years. An amazing thing. The Dow Jones hit 50,702. And the S&P is way over 7,000. So these were two things that they said he won't be able to do when I first got elected. They said he won't be able to do that. There's no way he's going to be able to do that in his first term, which is my first term of numerous terms. By the way, we're a 3-term president. We just don't want we won 3 times, but we only want the results of the first and the third. The hat says 4 more years. It drives them out of lunacy. But we did all of the different things, and we've saved you from $10,000 to $40,000 a year. The people in Rockland, on average, over 1 million New Yorkers claimed the deduction this year. You're able to write off nearly $22,000 on average, putting thousands of dollars back in your pocket. And these are all Republican. The Democrats voted against every one of these tax cuts. Everyone. They voted, as an example, in favor of open borders. They voted against the border. They voted against the wall. They voted against the sanity of when we talk about men playing in women's sports. I tell you how ridiculous it is. That's why I love having Jackson, because it's so easy. I just say, how would you like to play against him? But we have even better, Jackson. We have a weightlifter. He was a failed male weightlifter, and then he decided to transition to the other side. And they had a major contest, an Olympic tryout, and they had a young woman who was really good. She was one of the greatest ever. She could lift 204 pounds over her head. And the record stood for 17 years, Jackson, 17 years. And she was going to break the record. It was a big record, but she was going to break it. And they took 1/8 of an ounce, they put it on one side. And they took 1/8 of an ounce and they put it on the other side. And her parents were right where you are. You beautiful parents, right? Are you parents? Yes. Even if you weren't, I'll say you are. Not her. Good job you did. Good job, Mom. And they had this beautiful young weightlifter, female, real female. This was a real female. So she had 1/8 of an ounce, 1/8 of an ounce. She had like 208 pounds. And she was going to do it, and her parents were so proud. Her father knew she couldn't do it, but the mother thought she would. That's typical mother. The father was sort of not so sure. He loved his daughter, but he wasn't sure. And she bent over, and she lifted that sucker, and she pulled it up, and she was getting close. And she could barely, and the mother was screaming, "Come on, darling, you can do it." 17 years it stood. "Come on, darling, you can do it." And she got it up to here, Jackson. She said, she was almost, "Come on, darling." The father was almost bored because he knows she's not going to do it. And the mother's screaming, "Come on, darling, I love you so much. Mom, I love you. I love you." And she couldn't do it. Boom, it dropped. And then steps this young transitions person. I've gotten very good with the words. It took me a long time. I used to get criticized. He was a transitions person. And he stepped up. Now, he was a failed, lowest of the low of the male weightlifters. And he stood over that weight. He looked at it. He could have done it 4 or 5 times. He broke the record by over 100 pounds. Isn't this ridiculous? Isn't this? Do you want to hear the swimming story or not? You know, my wife, the great First Lady, number one movie. You believe it? I don't like that. I don't like success for people in the family. No, you can only have, remember, there's one star in a family. It doesn't work with two. Now, she did a movie, number one movie. You saw that? Then it went streaming, the new thing streaming with number one streaming. But she says, darling, please, you speak so beautifully. Would you do me a favor? Don't do the swimming story. Don't do the weightlifting story. It's so damn unpresidential. And also, darling, when you're leaving and they have that song, the gay national anthem, if you remember. That's why I did so well with the gay vote, I think, because of that song. I did great with the gay vote, better than any Republicans ever done by far. But my wife, the First Lady, very elegant woman. That's why people love the women went to see that movie 15 times. Okay, ready? She said, darling, don't dance, okay? It's not presidential. Don't do the weightlifting thing. It doesn't look good. Don't do the swimming thing. So I'll do the swimming thing. All right, I'll do this one. No, a young Olympian, very beautiful Olympian swimmer. And, you know, it's sort of like the pyramid. All the great people, they swim against each other from the time they're 5 years old. You know, it just works that way. They're better, whether it's golfers or players, baseball, football players. You were great when you were 4 years old. You could throw a ball better than anybody else. But the truth is, it always works that way. And this young woman looking for the Olympics, and she knows all the girls on the right and all the girls on the left, and she stands and she's so proud. She wants to qualify, and she's really a champion swimmer. And she looks to the left. You've heard this story, and she sees 6 girls, and she knows every one of them. She looks over there. Yeah, great, that's good. Hi, how you doing? She hates them because you know they're competitors, but she says hi. Then she looks to the right. She sees 6 people, and she knows 5 of them, but there's a person just on her right who's gigantic. It's a gigantic person. And she's looking up at him, at her, excuse me. That could be the end of my political career. That could be, you cannot do that. You cannot say looking up at him, because, so she's looking up at her. Oh my, she's so big. I've never seen anybody. And he has a wingspan sort of the size of Shaquille O'Neal. Go home to mom. Go home to mom. Go home to mom. Take him home to mommy. He's going to be in trouble. You know what he doesn't say is his mom's watching on television right now and she's loving it. Anyway, so you have this person, and you know what happened. The story is very, very famous, actually, that she was very severely injured. You know what injured her? Windburn, because he went by her so fast that she got tremendous windburn in the pool. And then he finished up the race and he rested while the other girls came in. And it was a very sad event, a very sad occasion. But to think that we actually, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, could you imagine saying, we will not allow men to play in women's sports? Could you imagine saying that transition? Can you imagine saying, we will not allow the mutilization of your children? If you said that, they'd say, what's wrong with that person? Why are they talking that way? Today, you have to say it because they do allow in certain places, still, we've cut a lot of it out, most of it. They allow the mutilization of your children, and we don't allow that stuff, and we're going to get it the hell out of here. Whatever happened to that guy? It's so quick. I don't know. I tell people, please don't do it. It's dangerous. To do it in this crowd is not a good thing. You don't want to do it in Trump crowds. I had very little. Do you remember originally? I used to have a lot of that. The first couple of months, I'd have people screaming, and they learned it's just not a good thing to do. It's not good. It's sort of dangerous. And of course, I like things that aren't dangerous. I don't like to see people get whacked. I don't like it. So don't do it. But we used to have it all the time. My first month or two, oh boy, guys would start screaming, "We hate you!" And then all of a sudden, it got less, and then now it never happens. That's the first time it's happened in a long time. That's the first time it's happened in a long time. If the Democrats gain power, they'll take these deductions and tax cuts away. They'll raise your taxes, and I'll tell you what, all my life, I went through life watching politics. I love politics, always watch. I never thought I'd be a politician. Can you believe I'm a politician? I hate the sound of it. But remember that, although I had a good night the other night, right? We knocked out a bad senator from Louisiana. We knocked out Massey, a horrible, one of the worst Republican congressmen of them. We knocked out somebody in Georgia, Rathensberger. We knocked him out. We knocked out everybody. We were 38-0. 30. Think of that, 38-0. Who's 38-0? We haven't lost one in years. You want to know the truth? Let me tell you, we have Make America Great Again. We have a movement the likes of which this country has never seen. And it's a movement based on common sense. It's not that it's conservative, but it's a movement based on common sense. We want strong borders. We want good education. We want low taxes. We want a strong military. How good is our military, right? And we're doing very well, by the way. Well, first of all, Venezuela was unbelievable, right? Now Iran, their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, everything's gone, their leaders are gone. And if you read the fake news, you'd think they're doing just fine. They're not doing just fine. They want to settle so badly. We have the greatest military. I just got back from China, President Xi. Good man. And I'll get killed for saying that. They'll say, oh, he called President Xi a good man. Well, we had an amazing time, but even he had to say, your military is unbelievable. This is the head of China. I built the greatest military my first 4 years, and I didn't know I was going to be using it this much, but we're using it. And there's nobody like our equipment. There's nobody like stuff we produce, but most our military men and women. But all my life I've watched politicians, and until this last 8 or 9 years, they have Trump derangement syndrome. They're all screwed up. Their wires are all mixed up. The Democrats, and they always lower and we will lower your taxes. We're going to lower your taxes. Now they don't do that. They say we will raise your taxes. Democrats say want to raise your taxes. Now, not a single Democrat in Congress voted to the salt reduction. Mike Lawler and all of his friends sitting up here fought them, and they voted against it. And by voting against the great, big, beautiful bill, one of the greatest pieces of legislation, probably the biggest ever passed, because we put everything in 4 years. That was my idea. I said, let's add everything, because these people are crazy. We might not get another chance at it. We added everything into that. That's 4 years worth of legislation. That's why we call it the great, big, beautiful bill. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for the seniors. The Democrats voted for open borders. They voted for open borders. And if they get in, you're going to have open borders again. You're going to have millions of people coming in. They voted for men in women's sports. They voted against the largest ever investment in school choice. Everybody wants school choice. And they voted against making interest payments on your auto loans tax deductible. That's what you have if it's made in America. So, oh, we have another little disturbance back there. Hello. Hello, everybody. That's okay. It's already cleared up. What are you doing back there to these people? Boy, does that get cleared up fast. The guy raises his hand, starts screaming something, and within about 2 seconds, it's over. What happened to him? Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. I do that for legal reasons. This way I can say. That's a great thing to say. Do not hurt him under any circumstances. And now I can say I'm innocent. They voted against the Trump accounts, which provide automatic contributions of $1,000 for every newborn child. So they end up being quite wealthy. And our record tax cuts are projected to raise incomes for New Yorkers by over $8,000, Mike, on average. We're going to boost household take-home pay for you, the people in the room, over $12,000 and protect more than 405,000 New York jobs. And we got to protect the jobs. We can't let that happen. I just say it again and again and again. You can't let these companies go. It's easy to say, oh, we don't like the companies. They're the ones that supply you with the money and the jobs and everything else. You got to cherish those companies. Whether you like them or not, you got to. Last month, the IRS issued the largest average tax refunds to New Yorkers in New York history. Think of it. You got back the biggest refund that you've ever had. And that's all over the country, by the way. But I was with the King of Saudi Arabia 2 years ago, and he's investing over $2 trillion here. We have $18 trillion coming in. But he said, and you might have heard it just a short time ago, he said, Mr. President, it's amazing. 2 years ago, you were a dead country, dead. We never thought anything was going to happen that could be good for your country. You were a dead country with a leader that was a not smart person. You were a dead country, and today you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's true, we're the hottest country. Respected by everybody. We're respected by everybody. The stock market has just said 68 times during my short, a little bit more than a year, 68 days, we hit all-time record highs. And since the election, adding $9 trillion in value to your savings and retirement accounts, 401ks. Your 401ks, does anybody have a 401k? Well, your people are going to vote for me then. There's no way. Will anybody with a 401k vote against Trump? Thank you. It's always risky to ask that question. Sometimes it's yes, you're right. It could be a very dangerous way. But since I took office, the typical 401k is up more than $30,000. And I've created 300,000 jobs in the last 2 months, smashing all expectations. Remember this, right now, more people are working in the United States than at any time ever before, by far, by a big number. And in 16 months, we've lifted nearly 5 million Americans off of food stamps. 5 million. And thanks to my strong tariff policy, now I get into a lot of trouble with tariffs because you remember when I first came out? I love tariffs. And I said, I love tariffs. It's my favorite word in the whole dictionary. I love the word tariff. And the fake news, look at all of them back there. That's a lot of fake news. That's a lot of fake news. They're all over the place. They're all over the I got more fake news. You know, they hate me, but boy, do they cover me. But I said, my favorite word in the dictionary is tariff. And they got after me. They said, he's a horrible human being. What about family? What about God? What about religion? What about love? So now I say it's my 5th favorite word, and I got to, and I'm okay. But because of tariffs, we brought numbers into this country that, in other words, if you make your product outside of the United States, to get it in here, you have to pay a big tariff. So what do? They build their factory in the United States, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And even New York, with your bad policies, we have people coming here. I'm trying to get them to come to New York. We've also cut our gaping trade deficit by, okay, if you cut a trade deficit by 1%, a half of a percent, you're a genius. I've cut it by 59%. 1 year. It's because of tariffs, because the money we're being made. Is that right, Mr. Lutnick? Secretary of Commerce is here. Looks good, looks handsome, reasonably. He doesn't look like Jackson. I'd rather look like Jackson. I'll take Jackson any day. Under our leadership, factory construction is up, new residential construction is way up, and consumer spending is way up. American companies are ordering core capital goods to expand their operations at the highest rate in the history of our country. And last year, General Motors announced a new manufacturing investment of $1 billion in upstate New York to produce V8 engines, which they never would have done here. They were all made in Germany and other countries. Now they're making them here because if they don't, they have to pay a big penalty. And they're stamping them at my instruction, made in the USA. Made in the USA. We're bringing it back. Joe Bonney is building a $1.2 billion dairy plant in Rome, New York, the largest investment in the history of the company, big company, and Micron. Boy, Micron's great. They're investing hundreds of millions. In fact, it'll be could be very close by the time they finish out, over $100 billion in Clay, New York. Anybody come from Clay? You will be there when you go up and look for a job. Let me say. My administration and our allies in Congress are also fighting every single day to lower the cost of living. So I got into office. I won the election in a landslide. And I have a news conference. Thank God. I mean, not to brag, but if I didn't win the election, we were dead. The welfare was tripling and the business was leaving, and the $18 trillion would have been 18 trillion to the negative instead of the positive. We would have been a dead country. We would have been finished. It's true. We ended Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate. That's where they wanted everybody to buy an electric car. And as I told Elon, I love electric cars, but Elon, it's not for everybody. You know, if we would build the charging booths, right, it would cost the country $4 trillion. No country can afford that. $4 trillion. You ever get an electric car and you suddenly get nervous because, you know, your thing is down a little bit. Friends of mine tell me it starts down a little bit. It's getting close. And you're looking, what about a charging station? You know, this is an hour before it runs out. Where's it charging? And then you see it. It's a sign. And it says charging station, an arrow pointing to the right, 92 miles. And you limp in if you make it at all. No, we love electric cars. I have to say that because of Elon, but I love electric cars. They're lovely, lovely vehicles. But I said, not everybody wants to have an electric car. And I ended that whole nonsense. By 2030, you will all have electric cars? I don't think so. How about California? They have electric cars. They don't have enough electricity to turn on your air conditioners. They have brownouts, and now everybody's going to have an electric car. That's one of the worst governors in the country, by the way, that guy. But he took himself, did you hear he announced he's taken himself out of the race? He called himself a dumb person. He got very low board scores. Everything he's done is tough, and he can't read a speech. He can't read a speech. So I don't read too many speeches either. I'd be better off if I did. But he can't read a speech, but he called himself a dumb person. And when you do that, I say it ends. But a friend of mine, very good at politics, say, don't worry, people forget about it. I don't know. I don't think he can forget. I thought it was the worst. He did this during an interview. I thought it was the worst interview by a professional politician in the history of our country. Because Gavin, I think, is when he says he's stupid. He said he's stupid. But remember? But he said he's smarter than the people in the room. And then he got sued for being a racist. Okay? And I guess he probably is a racist, but he said he was a stupid person. You'll never hear me call myself I'm the smartest guy you're ever going to meet. And don't you want to have a smart person as president? You want to have a smart person. In fact, I took the cognitive test. I'm the only one. You know, they called me originally, they said, he's brilliant. He wants to take over the entire country. Then they said, no. He wants the world. He doesn't want the country. That's why he's in Iran. That's why he's in. Hey, by the way, how did we do in Venezuela? Not bad. That's why he's in. You know, we've taken out so much oil in Venezuela, we paid for the cost of the war about 25 times over. When did you hear that last? You know, it's a one-way street. But no, the doctor, I said, doctor, let me ask you a question. They called me genius, and that didn't work. Then they said he's totally brilliant. He's a vicious dictator, wants to take over. That didn't work. And then they called me this, and then they said, they hit me with a bad one. He's a dumb person. D-U-M, not the B. He's a dumb person. It's enough. Most people don't know it has a B. He's a dumb person. I said, doctor, I don't mind being called a brilliant, total tyrant dictator, but I don't want to be called dumb. What do I do, doctor? Is there some kind of a test I can take? He said, actually, sir, there is. It's a cognitive test. I said, how many presidents have taken it? None. You know this story. No people have taken it. I said, well, is it good or bad? Is it tough? It's a tough test. It starts off easy. It gets very, very tough. I said, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that test, I think, doctor, because I do good on tests. I'm going to take that test, and let's see how we do. He said, here's the problem, sir. If you do badly on the test, it's going to be reported because it's Walter Reed Medical Hospital. It's a military hospital. It's sort of public. So you have 5 doctors sitting there, and they're all, if you do badly on it, sir, and you could do badly because, you know, the questions are very easy at the beginning, then pretty easy, then pretty hard. By the time you get to the end, there are not a lot of people in the room can get them, believe me. I said, well, it will be public, won't it? It'll be embarrassment, but let's do it. This was in my first term. I took it and I aced it. And they had tough questions. So the first question was, you have a bear, a snake, an elephant, and a horse. Name the horse. That's the horse. The second question is a little bit tough, and then he goes, so the New York Times does a story to show the test that I just aced, and they only used the first question. They didn't go into the other questions. They didn't go in, but toward the end, like they had a question like, pick a number, sir, any number. Okay, 203. Multiply times 9, divide by 2, add on 1,324, subtract 1,292. Sir, multiply it out one more time by 19. What is the answer, sir? And I got it right. You know? And the one doctor said, I've been doing this test for 20 years. I've never seen anybody ace it. So then what happened? That was in my first term, and that quieted people down. That was good. And then what happened? I did it twice in my second term. So I've taken it and I've aced it all 3 times, I'll tell you, because it is a positive thing, you know, positive. Nice to be smart. But remember, I said, and I made the statement, all presidents and vice presidential candidates should be forced to take a cognitive test and a test on intelligence. And I said it loud. Obama couldn't do well on it. Biden wouldn't even get the first question. I don't think he'd get the first. Which is the bear? Which is the horse? No, would he get? You know, I have a friend, he's very good politically, but he has a test. He owns like stores, little stores. He's not super rich. In fact, he's not even rich. But he makes a living, as he expresses. He goes, but I knew him a long time. I like to keep my old friends. I like to do really much better than them. I don't like friends that become very successful. I like people that are just okay. Even if they're terrible, I like that too. I hate, like when I have lunch with somebody that's really, really successful, I hate it. Because he or she is bragging about how great they are, and I hate that when they do that. Because they stop me from talking about the fact that I became president. But I have a friend, and he said, you know, I have a simple test for a politician. I own stores. I'm really good at it. It's not a complex business. And I say, how would a president do running my store while I'm away on vacation? He said, I take one store, not three or four. And I say, my busiest one Queens Boulevard, Queens. He said, I take a store and I say, how would he be? And I said, so what's the answer? He said, you would drive it into one of the largest retail empires in the world. Biden wouldn't be able to run the store for one evening. One evening would be a disaster. He said, I give people tests. I put people in my store. I say, how do you think they do? And he said, Biden wouldn't be able to run a store. We can never let that happen again to our country. We can never let it happen again. What he's done to our country is unacceptable. And a lot of bad things. We had inflation, but we've got that down. By the way, the oil prices are going to tumble as soon as I finish up with Iran. Tumble. I was in Iowa. We had it down to $1.85 a gallon in Iowa, but we had it down around the $2 point. And then I said, well, Lutnick, we're going to have to take a trip to, we got Scott Bessent, we got all of them. I said, we just hit 50,000 on the Dow. And I said, that's a record, highest ever. I said, sorry to do this to you, but we're going to have to journey down to the Middle East. They said, why? I said, because Iran is going to have a nuclear weapon if we don't stop them. And I said, we're going to have to do it. And we have stopped them. They're not going to ever have a nuclear weapon. They're never going to have a nuclear weapon. And we'll have that over with soon. It'll be over with soon. And you're going to see numbers like you've never seen, both on the upside and also in terms of costs. You're going to see costs go down. But, the Democrats are the ones that caused all the costs. And they were the ones that caused. When I took over, the prices were through the roof. I told you before, the inflation was the highest ever. The costs were high. And think of it, they'd constantly come out, the cost. They would constantly come out with the word affordability. I said, they're the ones that caused the problem. I'm in the office 2 days. They are the greatest bullshit artists, ready? I'm in the office 2 days. And the costs have gone through the roof under 4 years of Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe or both, Biden, right? And I hear these Democrats from all over the place going, affordability. They're the ones that cost it. I didn't cost it. Remember the eggs? My first news conference, 2 or 3 days in, they said, what are you going to do? These people, these corrupt press, they're corrupt. They're corrupt. They know it. They're corrupt. They're totally corrupt. They were saying, what are you going to do about the cost of eggs? I said, what's the problem with eggs? They say they've gone up 4 times. I said, I just got here. Right? I just got here. They're the greatest bullshit artists, I'm telling you. They said, Trump has driven up the cost of eggs. I just got here, I'm sorry. And within 3 months, our great Secretary of Agriculture has driven them down to the lowest point they've been in a long time. We've got them all down. Now we'll get our energy down. The only thing that has your prices, look, energy is a big ball game. That's the big one. And we're going to get that down. It'll get down to where it was, maybe even get down lower. But we had it down to a number that was so good they hadn't seen it since my first term. But we terminated the Green New Scam, including the so-called efficiency rule on water heaters, stoves, washers, dryers, light bulbs, saving Americans on average $3,250. And yesterday we eliminated a truly awful Biden regulation on refrigerators and air conditioners that drove the cost of food even in grocery stores where they have freezers. It was called the refrigerant. And according to these lunatics, the refrigerant, which we've had for 40 years, is going to drive people into a state of frenzy. There's nothing wrong with the refrigerant other than sometimes it makes your food too cold. Its alternative costs about twice as much, and it doesn't cool your food at all. Everyone that has it practically has gone bankrupt because their food has rotted. So we ended the anti-refrigerant movement in this country. You will now be able to purchase an air conditioner that actually gives you cold air. It's nice. And as you may know, here in New York, I'm fighting relentlessly to end the scourge of congestion pricing, where Kathy Hochul, I have to tell you this though. She calls me up a lot, and she can check my phone records. It says Buffalo, New York. She calls me up a lot. I immediately know it's her because I do have friends in Buffalo, but they haven't called me too much lately. It says Buffalo and said, "Hi, Mr. President, it's Kathy. Hi. Could you help me here? Could you help me there? We're having a little problem getting this, and we're trying to get that. Could you give me a little hand?" I say, "Kathy, you're always killing me. What the hell would I give you?" "Well, I just thought I'd try." "Okay, thank you very much." And the next day she goes out, "We must stop Donald Trump." It's crazy. Trump derangement syndrome. She's a very, I don't want to say anything negative. She's a very nice one, but she's never going to take you to the promised land, ever. There will never be a promised land with Kathy. So we're also taking historic actions to make it easier to afford a home. And I signed an executive order banning large Wall Street investment firms from buying up all of the single family homes all over the country. And I also directed Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and we happen to have the head of Fannie Mae. And where is Mr. Pulte? Right here, Pulte. He's done a great job, that guy. These people know you. He's becoming very famous, but he's done a good job. But I've instructed him to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds, bringing interest rates plummeting down much lower than they would have normally been. And we're going to get the rates down. Rates are coming down with the energy. You watch what's going to happen. I had a rotten head of the Fed, and now I have a great head of the Fed today. Kevin Warsh. Kevin was just sworn in today. He's great. He's going to be great. And now Congress is on the cusp of passing the most important piece of housing legislation in a generation. But to be honest with you, housing is all about interest rates. I know more about housing than anybody in history. No president's ever done. I built a lot of housing, and they can pass all the bills they want. It's about interest rates. You get the interest rates down, everybody's going to be very, very happy. We're going to get it down very quickly. I support the bill that passed the House this week. Congressman Lawler's help now, and it's called the House and Senate. It's a House and Senate housing bill, and it's coming together, and hopefully they'll get it done. But I will say this, Mike, again, it's about interest rates. It's all about interest rates. We get the interest rates down, the housing, you're going to look like a genius. Perhaps most importantly, we've made tremendous strides to bring down the crushing cost of healthcare under my most favored nation agreement that nobody wants to write about. And it's the biggest because we went from the highest price in the entire world to the lowest price in the entire world. And I can't get the fake news to write about it. I think that alone should win the midterms. That alone should win them. It's called most favored nations. In other words, we pay the lowest price of any nation in the world. So we're right now paying many times higher. We're paying sometimes 10, 12 times higher than other nations, like the fat drug. $87 in London, $1,300 in New York City. And a friend of mine who's very fat called me. He said, President, he's crude as hell. He's crude and very smart, highly neurotic. We all know people like that, very smart, but highly neurotic. And he was in London, and he's a rich guy, made a lot of money, but he knows the cost of medicine that he takes, probably more than that he takes, this guy. He's begging me not to tell his name because he's actually become quite famous. I tell the story often. So he calls me up, he goes, President, he used to call me Donnie. Donnie. Now he calls me, Mr. President. He said, President, I'm in London. I just paid $87 for the fat drug. He said, it's a fat shot. I said, what is it, Ozempic? He said, I don't know what the hell it is. It's supposed to. I said, it's not working on you, Charles. Not working at all. It hasn't worked, but he knows the price. He goes, I paid $87 and in New York for 2 weeks ago. I bought the same damn thing for $1,300. And it really made an impression. I mean, look, I've been watching this for a long time. I was very proud to have reduced in my first term, third year. Drugs have always gone up for 28 years, and I got it to a point where it went down 1/8. of a point. And I was so proud of myself. I called the news conference. I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to let you know that drugs have gone down in our country for the first time in 28 years. They've gone down by 1/8 of a point. I was so proud. Now they're down by 80%, 90%. $80, 90%. And the fake news doesn't want to write about it. And you could even say 400, 500, 600, or 700%, depending on the way you ask the question. But here today is a local family that has benefited greatly from our policies, especially our historic tax cuts in the great, big, beautiful bill. Kathy Kennedy is a retired special education teacher from Orangetown. And this year she saved more than almost $3,000 on her taxes thanks to the SALT deduction. And congratulations to Kathy. Kathy, you want to come up here? Come on up here, Kathy. Wow.
I just want to express my sincere gratitude to President Trump for supporting the tax rebates and working alongside our local lawmakers to make our county stronger, safer, and more affordable for families. These efforts create opportunities for our children to remain here, build their futures, invest in our communities, and continue to contribute to the place we proudly call home, Rockland County, New York.
Good afternoon, everybody. I love seeing all the beautiful patriotism out there today. But Mr. President, we wanted to take a moment to sincerely thank you for the policies that you put in place, and they're making a major difference for families like mine. As a father, a small business owner, a home inspector, a real estate investor, changes to the SALT tax deductions and things like the Trump accounts for children have made a meaningful difference in our lives. Because of those policies, we're able to keep more money that we work so hard for and invest into our future instead of simply getting by. We were able to take that money that we saved and invest it directly back into our home inspection business and a land investing business. Two businesses that are giving us the opportunity to create something lasting for our children and the communities that we serve. And more important than the financial side, entrepreneurship is giving us more freedom. Freedom to spend more time together as a family, freedom to build a future on our own terms, and freedom to be there for the moments that are most important with our children. Mr. Trump, we just wanted you to know that there's hardworking American families out there who are benefiting from all that you're doing. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you, everybody. Great job. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job. A budding politician. I can say that. I also want to call up the man who fought so hard, harder than anybody else, for the SALT deduction. And he's really become a friend of mine. He's a warrior. He's a warrior, fights like hell. And he fights really for you. That's what he's doing. And Mike Lawler, Congressman, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is great to have you here in Rockland County, New York. Now, Mr. President, you moved Rockland County further to the right than any county in New York in 2024, gaining 14 points and becoming the first Republican to win Rockland County as a presidential candidate in over 20 years. And on behalf of the people of the 17th Congressional District, I want to thank you for working with me to deliver a big win by lifting the cap on salt. Over 90% of my constituents were able to fully deduct their state and local taxes, and I thank you for fulfilling that commitment.
He's done a great job. Thank you, Mike. Amazing. We're pleased also to be joined by the Secretary of Commerce. He's a big man, a very successful guy, and I said, that's the guy I want for Commerce, and he's done a fantastic job. And Howard, you want to say one thing fast? Could you speak fast? Come on, let's get up here, Howard. Come on. He's great. Done a great job. Howard Lutnick.
My favorite number, $18 trillion. President Trump is bringing in more jobs, more investment, and more factories and more production than anybody ever dreamed. And it is an honor to be the Secretary of Commerce for the greatest president of all of our lifetimes, Donald Trump.
And I won't ask him to speak, and I introduce him because he's been incredible. The Director of Federal Housing Finance Agency, Bill. Thank you very much, Bill Colton. Along with some absolute warriors, State Assemblyman Mike LaPetrie. Mike, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Great job. Great job. State Senator Peter Orberacker. Peter, thank you, Peter. Great. Co-founder and CEO of Sticker Mule, Anthony Constantino, and County Executive. Wait a minute, Anthony first. Before I get to this County Executive, I got to give him. Where's Anthony? Hi, Anthony. Thank you. Good job. And the County Executive of Nassau County. Okay. I'm telling you, I said before, Nassau County, it's not possible to get a man of common sense, a man who's Republican and conservative, elected. He's won it in record fashion. It was the biggest upset in New York politics probably 6-7 years ago when he first ran, 7. And I remember I said, that's not possible. Bruce won. And then he won again. Then he won again in record. Now that he's there, it's record. And that county is doing unbelievable. He's running for governor. He's your Republican nominee. He's your conservative nominee. He's your conservative nominee. And he is an unbelievable man, and he will turn this place around so fast. And I promise one thing, when he calls, the President of the United States will answer, and we're going to help him. Come on up here, Bruce. Come here. Bruce Blakeman, everybody. Bruce Blakeman.
Come on, Hudson Valley, let's hear it for President Donald J. Trump. Come on, louder! The greatest president in my lifetime. We will save New York as President Trump has saved America, because we will fight, fight, fight!
You watch what happens. So, and he really is, he's a special man, very talented person, a great executive. That's what you need. You have people that have no idea what's happening. We're also joined by Allison Crowther, the mother of Wells Crowther, who you know about, the man in the red bandana, a 24-year-old volunteer firefighter, equity trader, a wonderful guy, had a perfect life. Right here in Rockland County, you all know who he is. He was a legend, and he's become a legend, who heroically gave his life on 9/11 to save 18 people from the World Trade Center. And I see his mother is here. And I'm pleased to tell his mother and everybody else, come on up here just for a second. that today, at the request of Bruce and Mike and some of the great political people we have, that we are approaching the 25th anniversary of September 11th, 2001, a dark day that will live in infamy. We are posthumously awarding Wells the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest award. It's the highest award outside of the Congressional Medal of Honor. And those are the two biggies, and Wells has one of them. And I just want to congratulate his great mother in doing a phenomenal job in raising that young man. Boy, what bravery, saved those people and became a legend in a sense. Nobody else would have done what he did. So he's going to be getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. President, for this huge honor. I want to thank Rachel Ducci, who's in the audience here, who started this whole process, and of course, Mike Lawler, who has been a huge support in moving it forward. I didn't come prepared for remarks, so I just want to say to me, it's such a beautiful thing that even 25 years later, Wells's light still shines brightly. I travel, thank you. Thank you. I travel around the country, and I've even been to Amman, Jordan, talking about Wells's story and his legacy and his example of courage, fearlessness. He was even from a little boy, and his pure humanity that day, saving so many lives. And it's just an example that as I travel and speak to children, they're tremendously moved and inspired by this to be better people. And I see this over and over. It's a beautiful thing. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm also very blessed with my two daughters. They're wonderful husbands and 6 grandchildren who are my family now. They can stand up. Oh, they're right over there. So I guess I just realized early on that I couldn't pick up a weapon and go fight the bad guys myself, but the weapon I had was to work to bring good into the world. And that's what I continue to try to do every day. And I'm blessed that we were able to learn Wells's story, which was actually Memorial Weekend of 2002, when we finally uncovered the story, thanks to the New York Times. So thank you, Mr. President. We are truly blessed and so honored to remember Wells this way.
Well, thank you very much. That's a great story. Right here from Rockland. They grow them heroic here, don't they? Yeah, we know that. And we're also truly honored to be joined by some of the very special people, the family of Sheridan Gorman. You know Sheridan, and her father is a great friend of one of my people, Dan Scavino, who's done very well. He's become quite known in the world of politics. Dan is great, but his father's a friend of Dan, so it affects us maybe a little more than it would normally, but it was terrible 2 months ago. This beautiful, beautiful 18-year-old college student from Yorktown, New York, right across the Hudson River, was walking in a park in Chicago when she was gunned down by an illegal alien monster in cold blood. Nobody knows even why this happened. This savage animal who stole Sheridan's life entered illegally from Venezuela and was released into our country by crooked Joe Biden and that whole Biden administration of thieves and criminals. He was then arrested and released again by Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker, a terrible governor, has no idea what's going on in the sanctuary city of Chicago. Sanctuary cities protect criminals. They're a sanctuary for criminals, not for people like you, like us. To Sheridan's mother, Jessica, her father, Thomas, and her sister, Madeline, her cousin, Lila, we grieve this terrible loss, and our prayers are with you. And I'd like you to meet this family. This family is amazing, and the reason I do that, it just hit the strings. It was this incredible, beautiful girl to be so savagely hurt, ultimately killed. And so, could I ask her parents and sister, cousin, to come up, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have to say, you're just so funny. My family has laughed more, smiled more than we have, like in the past hour, than we have since March 19th. It's been such a gift. Thank you.
Hi, sorry, we prepared some words. But first, I just want to thank President Trump and Michael Lawler and all of the legislators that believe and protect and are champions for our American children. My name is Jessica Gorman, and Mother's Day was just 2 weeks ago. For most mothers, it meant flowers and cards and phone calls or children coming home. For me, it was heartache and tears. Because on March 19th, my beautiful daughter, Sheridan Gorman, was murdered in cold blood. She was walking on a pier in Chicago with her friends. Just a few blocks from her campus, they were hoping to see the northern lights over the Chicago city nightline. Sheridan never got to see those lights. Instead, her life was stolen by a man who should have never been in this country, a man who should have never been set free in that community. And every step, the system had a chance to stop him. And at every step, it failed. And my daughter paid for those failures with her life. No mother should ever have to wonder if her child called out for her in her final moments. No mother should ever have to imagine her baby lying alone and bleeding on the cold pavement. And no family should ever have to bury a child because public officials failed to put innocent American lives first. Sorry. To the mothers of New York, to the mothers of Chicago, Rockland County, and our own beloved Westchester County, and all across this nation who have reached out, who've cried with us and prayed for us and stood with us, I just want to thank you from the bottom of every piece of my broken heart. I see you, I hear you, and I need you to please hear me. Remember Sheridan's face, remember her light, remember the life she should have lived, and then stand with us, not only in grief, but in action. Forget political party, vote with your heart, support leaders like President Trump, like Michael Lawler. Please, please support leaders and policies that protect your child and mine. Because a city, and a state, or a country that does not protect its children has lost its way. And together, we must be brave enough to demand that it find its way back. Thank you.
My name is Tom Gorman. I'm not a politician. I'm not a public speaker. I'm a father of whose daughter was murdered by an illegal immigrant. I am a husband who had to hold his wife on Mother's Day when she asked the question no mother should ever have to ask. Through tears, Jess looked at Maddie and me and asked, am I still the mother of two? There's no answer big enough for that pain, no words, no comfort, no way to give back what was stolen from our family. All I could do was hold her and tell her the truth. Yes, Jess, you're still the mother of two, because Sheridan will always be our daughter. No mother should ever have to ask that question, and no father should ever have to answer it. This is what failed policies have done to our family. We did not just lose Sheridan, we lost our peace, we lost our future, we lost the life that we knew. And no family should have to become experts in immigration failures, release policies, warrants, sanctuary laws, enforcement breakdowns, because their daughter was killed by someone who should not have been here and should not be free. Let me be clear about one thing. We support legal immigration. Legal immigration has made America stronger. We all know families, neighbors, coworkers, and friends who have come and done it the right way. Followed the law, they worked hard, built businesses, raised families, and made this country better. That is America at its best. But illegal immigration is different. Criminal illegal immigration is different. Borders matter, laws matter, enforcement matters, and above all, American families matter. We are deeply grateful to President Trump and to Congressman Lawler for comforting our family, saying Sheridan's name, and fighting for policies that put safety of American children and the citizens first. But I do not understand why this is a fight that belongs to only one party. Protecting our people is not politics. It is the first responsibility of government. So do not just feel sorry for us. Instead, remember Sheridan's name and stand with us. Demand that leaders who enforce our laws, secure our borders, cooperate with law enforcement, and put innocent American families first. Sheridan should have come home, and because she did not, we will spend the rest of our lives fighting so that someone else's daughter can. Parents out there, give your kids a big hug. Tell them how much you love them. Thank you very much.
Wow, it's crazy. It's crazy, right? If we had a border, we didn't have open borders. He came through open borders. Nobody checked him, totally unvetted. Terrible person, an animal. Should have never happened. Just yesterday, New York State passed a budget packed with provisions to obstruct federal immigration enforcement and keep this a deadly sanctuary state. Just passed yesterday. It's hard to believe. So, Bruce, hopefully you'll get that unpassed very quickly. It's terrible. As we speak, the radical left Democrats in the House and Senate are blocking passage of legislation to ban sanctuary jurisdictions. We want to have that banned. We don't want them. They bring in criminals of the worst type, murderers, drug dealers, prisoners escaped from foreign prisons, put in our country by foreign countries because they don't want them. But with your support and Congressman Lawler and Bruce, you're gonna do fantastic. You're gonna be the next governor, I'm telling you. Know who's gonna take this? Bruce Blakeman. We'll stop fighting for Sheridan's. We're gonna be fighting for Sheridan's memory. We're gonna be fighting. You just can't forget it. I looked at it, I said, such a beautiful young kid. I saw it in the papers, front page of every paper. How do you explain that to parents? How do you explain it to anybody? And we'll abolish deadly sanctuary cities in New York and across the nation once and for all. We're getting rid of a lot of them. And we now have the strongest border in the history of our country by far. The strongest. Starting on day one, my administration took the most dangerous, unsafe, violent, and open border in the world. Anywhere in the world, I don't think there's any place in the world where 25 million people cross. You could go into a third world country that don't have borders like that, and created something that was incredible because we did it without Congress, without the help of Congress. You remember Joe Biden, I can't get legislation passed. I didn't have legislation. I came in, I told Border Patrol and ICE, I said, close the border. And within 30 days, we had 0 illegal aliens admitted into the United States in the last 12 months. 0. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Incredible people. You people built this country. Remember that. You built it, nobody else. We also passed the largest ever investment in ICE and Border Patrol because they're really heroes. You know, they get mangled up and spit on by politicians that don't have the guts to get up in the morning. Democrats all, really Democrats all. You look at the stats, everything's blue. The blue states, with their help, in 2025, we achieved the largest drop in the murder rate ever recorded from 1900, 125 years to year 9. And that's with a lot of people. We got a lot out. We have a lot to take out. That's with a lot of people that aren't supposed to be here. We cut the flow of fentanyl across our border by 59%, which is unheard of. And we cut the flow of fentanyl and drugs into our country by the ocean and the sea. In other words, coming in by water, by ocean and sea, by 97%. Boom, boom. We made the largest ever investment in the U.S. military, and we're going to have $1.5 trillion invested. And boy, isn't it great that we have the greatest military in the world right now, isn't it great? And with not only Venezuela, but with Operation Epic Fury, our warriors are ensuring that the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, Iran, #1 state sponsor of terror, they send their money all over the world to create problems, never going to happen, and they're never going to have a nuclear weapon, and they know that. They know that. And America is winning again. America is respected again, perhaps like never before. But we're just getting started. With the help of our Republican majorities in Congress, we will crush violent crime. We will impose harsh new penalties for dangerous repeat offenders. We will crack down on Marxist prosecutors and rogue judges that are no good for our country. They're disgraceful. And we will end no cash bail. This is where it began. And we will pass what we call the Great Healthcare Plan, to stop all payments to big insurance companies. The government pays the big insurance companies, totally control, the Democrats totally control them, and they're totally controlled by the companies themselves. And we're going to give the money not to the big insurance companies. We're going to give the healthcare money directly to the people so they can buy their own healthcare. They can make sure that they get better. You'll get better. You'll get far better health care than you have right now because the Unaffordable Care Act, that's called Obamacare. The Unaffordable Care Act is terrible. It's always been terrible. You buy your own health care, the money will go directly to you, and you have a lot of money left over. You have much better health care. And we'll stop the radical left's rampant looting of your taxpayers' dollars, and we'll win the war on fraud. And you see that? It's led by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. You see what's going on? It's looking good. You see what's going on out there? All those good-looking guys up there, they're out there, and what they're doing is fantastic. They've caught so much fraud. They're in Minnesota. They're in California. They're going to be everywhere. And JD and the group are doing a fantastic job. We're finding billions and billions of dollars of fraud, medical fraud. Dr. Oz is doing phenomenally well. Dr. Oz, Bobby, we love Bobby. And we will always protect our Second Amendment. We will defend religious liberty. We will support our police. We will pass the Save America Act to protect our sacred American elections. And all voters must show voter ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. And there will be no more mail-in ballot scams, especially in places just like this where it's so rampant. Except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel, we'll be very generous in that regard, but we have to stop it. There's no country in the world that has mail-in ballots like we do. No country in the world. You know why? Because it's inherently corrupt. And we will also enshrine in permanent law no men in women's sports and no transgender surgery for our children. And together with the help of patriots throughout New York State, New York, and right here, I love this place, and all across our land and all across our country, we will make America powerful again. We're respected again like never before. We will make America wealthy again. We're right on our way to doing that. We will make America healthy again. You know what that's all about? Maha. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Get out and vote in the midterm. Thank you. Thank you, Mike and Bruce. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
There go Trump. Anyway, we're going to thank you guys for joining us. This is Speak the Truth 2.0. My name is Cindy. I'm the host, one of the hosts, and this is Elijah. He is the co-host. And Trump said a lot. So we're going to react to some of the things that Trump said about mail-in ballots, about, he had talked about a lot of things, even about the job market and about prices and American workers and what's going on inside of this country. We're going to look at the poll that said, the question was asked, I'm ending the poll now. The question was, would you vote for Trump a third term? And can you read the results?
37% said yes and 63% said no.
So the majority of the people that's in this chat said that they would not vote for Trump if he was able to run for a third term. And the way that he kind of conducted this fighting for American workers, and he touched on a lot of things, even about illegal immigration, if though he was running again, if he was campaigning again, and I know he's doing this for the midterms, and I think that, to be honest, because this is Speak the Truth 2.0, I think Trump lost a lot of support from those who initially voted for him in office. I'm talking about MAGA. I'm talking about Republicans. We know Democrats did not vote for him, but I'm talking about the people of all ethnicities that supported him. I think there's a lot of disappointment, and I know that Trump and his administration doesn't want to hear it. Yes, he did garner a lot of votes. He won the popular vote. He won all the swing states. I think, what was it, 6 or 7 swing states. Trump did a phenomenal job in the past election, but he's taking a left turn. the things that people felt that he was going to do for this country, a lot of people have been hurt by policies that were implemented coming in the door and by Elon Musk, who was never even elected into office. When he went into the government, he made up Doge and they were supposed to come in and find all this fraud that was never actually, to be honest, found. What happened was that they fired hundreds of thousands of federal workers. Those are living wage jobs. Living wage jobs pay for how people to have houses, send their kids to college. That's why a lot of those jobs had unions. So a lot was lost. I think that we lost more jobs since he's been in office. I'm trying to be honest. I think we lost more jobs since he's come into office than have been gained. And the last job report, I think it was only like a small fraction of jobs that were added to the job market. Go ahead.
Alexander said a nice comment. He said,
Uh,
Alexander said, we would like to see more of Elijah. I feel like we don't see enough of you, Elijah, particularly because we would like to see more of your thoughts on MAGA and how you differ from that view.
And I agree. I'm glad you read about you. He said that's a nice comment. I always keep trying to tell him to get in and have his viewpoints.
I'm pretty shy.
And I got to go grab him, grip him up, because I want him to talk, want him to speak about, especially with his generation, how they're looking at things and their viewpoints. So since you read your question, go ahead and talk.
Yeah, I don't know, kind of like in the middle because it's like at least it's better than Joe Biden.
How do you feel about Trump and his administration since coming into office? Like they have taken, he was sworn in January of 2020 5, and now he's been in office over a year. Like, what do you think about the job so far that he's done as far as this country? Because I think where Trump kind of is going in the wrong direction is that he keeps on, like, the country is divided. He keeps acting like he's not the president of the left. He's calling them dumpster left, or he's coming up with all these offensive, insulting names, but people don't care about that. People care about their paychecks, food on the table, lower prices, jobs.
He should be creating like a divide.
It's too much.
A war between both parties.
Both parties.
Everyone.
And I don't think he has gotten that message. So go ahead. What do you feel about all of that?
Yeah, I just feel like it's been kind of a letdown, like comparing it to his 2016 run. I think his 2016 run, he did a great job as president.
Yeah. It's like he was for all the people.
Yeah, I think he got people in his ear. Not trying to make excuses, but I think he has people in his ear.
Talk louder so they can hear you.
I think he has people in his ear that's like changing some of how he was before as president.
I know. It's like the Trump that was like the Trump of 2016. He was more for all the people. We, even in the Black community, we had a higher job rate when he became president. He supported HBCUs. He gave funding. They'd have to come and beg every year for funding, the presidents of the schools. He did the First Step Act that gave opportunity for Black men that has suffered behind the mass incarceration of Black people because of the 1994 crime bill that were unfortunately given these lengthy sentences that they shouldn't have had or probably shouldn't have had. But Trump did a lot for the Black community, and it's like this go around. It's like he had over 2 million Black men that voted for him. I promise God is sitting on the throne that Black men are not going to vote for the next Republican candidate, whether it is J.D. Vance. I know he's not going to get it. He is not going to get the Black vote like Trump did. He's not going to get it.
There's something big too that
Yeah.
I want to talk about after this comment. But someone said, if you want to correct them, they said it looks like he's a Trump supporter and doesn't want to hurt your feelings, Mom.
He's not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. I was the Democrat. Look and see this. I've always voted for the Democratic Party, straight down, up and down, not looking at the record. Just because we're Black, the Democratic Party, we were brainwashed to think that they were going to do something for Americans.
Obama.
They especially the Black community, they promised a George Floyd bill, they promised a John Lewis bill, the anti-hate crime bill. You know who got anti-hate crime bill were the Asians, who didn't even put them in office. They didn't have a problem getting that. As soon as one get hit over the head, they got one. But Black people have been mistreated for over 400 years. Yeah. There's been suppression in this country. And so the Democrats had the presidency, the House, the Senate, they've had everything. And they still never move on behalf of, say, the Black community. So the Black community, I think we're in a limbo right now. You don't want to vote for the Democratic Party, and we don't want to vote for the Republican Party, because a lot of things, unfortunately, has happened even since Trump has taken office. I thought Trump coming in, I thought that he was doing a great job, and then he just started like attacking, per se. I'm really reaching the Black community. He's like he doesn't like Black people. It's like he's not for the Black community at this point.
Like vote for a Democrat because they was for the Triple K Club.
Well, okay, tell him why you wouldn't vote. Now he voted, and he did vote for Trump. Okay, he voted for Trump because he didn't like the 1994 crime bill with the mass incarceration of Black people. He didn't like the fact that the Ku Klux Klan was part of the Democratic Party. They started the Ku Klux Klan in Pulaski, Tennessee. He didn't like the fact of the Civil Rights Bill that was filibustered for over 70 days. That was by the Democrats. The author of the 1994 crime bill was Joe Biden. That caused mass incarceration of Black people, which Trump had him apologize when they were doing one of the debates and said that really was wind up being something that he regrets, because it was a terrible thing that happened to take Black men out of the household. You're leaving Black women to hold it down. And then they said, where's the Black father at? And the kids are running amok on the street because then the street is raising them. Then they put drugs in the neighborhood. It's just like been a cycle of things that have happened to try to suppress the Black community.
And he only apologized because Trump was pressing him.
Trump pressed him. Yeah. But then he turned around and got Byron Donalds to do a 2026 crime bill, trying to do incarceration of young Black kids. They're going after the Black children now.
I'll say something recently I'm not happy with Trump about is it's like I really like Tulsi being a part of his administration, and to find out today that she's now resigned.
She's resigned. It's like all the women that were in office, from Christy Knowles, Tulsi, what's the other lady?
Pam Bondi.
Yeah, Pam Bondi. It's like all the women that he had put in leadership, put it on his cabinet. They're no longer there. I knew she was going to be next, but she's going through. Yeah, when I saw when Christy Knowles, when she was removed from the cabinet, I said, okay, I told you Tulsi was next. But her husband is suffering from, I believe, bone cancer, and that's a great big part of it. But I still felt as though that she was going to be next. They're being removed from the position, so it looked like it's all men right now. Except I think the Department of Education, she's still part of the cabinet, and Susie was his chief of staff or whatever. She's still part. I don't know if that's a cabinet position, but she sits, in the meetings. So he's losing like the women that he placed in office. They're no longer leading. So they're being replaced by men. But I don't know. I just think that there's a lot that's going on, as far as he said that they're bringing jobs, but there was so many jobs have been lost.
Oh, I appreciate it, Alexander. Mm-hmm. Someone said he's not attacking the Black community. What are you talking about?
Good for you reading always those. I just explained that he is. He is attacking the Black community. Over 500,000 Black women, them taking office, have lost their jobs. Are you aware of that? Almost like 1 million. I think they said the numbers. I got to check GPT. Someone could even do it right now, because it gives you the numbers quick, fast, in a hurry. But yeah, Black people have been attacked in that area. Like a lot of like even the Civil Rights Act, that's a big deal. They're stripping that away. Look at Black history. Yes. They're taking away from the Smithsonian a lot of our history, even though a lot of it is difficult to listen to and watch, but it still belongs to us.
And Martin Luther King.
It belongs to us.
And someone replied with a great comment response. They said he's calling all Black employees DEI hires, and they're being fired on that base for all of the country.
And he's falsely making that claim. because DEI was Pam Bondi and Tulsi and who was it? The other one? I always forget her name. Is Christy?
Well, Tulsi Hawaiian, but Christy no.
Yeah, Christy Gnomes. They DEI hires were actually white women. And I keep saying that they benefited more than any other ethnicity were white women. They were the DEI hired. Black people were number 9 on the list. We did not benefit, but as long as we're the face of it. And then everybody said, yeah, fire the black people. They're lazy. They don't work, but we built this country. So nobody can take away from all the contributions that black people built this country on free labor. And then they even want to take away that respect and then call black people lazy when they were chained and enslaved. The brutality that was done to my ancestors is you can't even imagine the horror they went through, but we're still here. They paved the way for us today.
In 2026, saying some great comments. He said he's also firing high-ranking black military officers.
Yeah, he's firing high-ranking, military. He's doing a lot that's going on, and he has people that's working that haven't been elected by the people that are working diligently. Look at what happened to the Doge guy. When Big Balls got hurt, he brought in the National Guards in Washington and said it was the most unsafe place in the world. But you got red states with a higher crime rate than they even have in Chicago. But he doesn't focus on that. All the cop killers and stuff like that, they don't, Fox News, nobody highlights the crime that's going on. But when crime is committed by a black person, which I thought we were the criminals of the earth. The way that it was portrayed on TV, but that's all been staged to make us think that so you can believe that black people are thugs, black people are criminals, when we are not the criminals and we're not the thugs of this country. We've never had power. No. We're not responsible for the $39 trillion debt. No. We're not responsible for the negative things that have happened in this country. But we're the most disrespected, even by people who have come in here and have benefited off of the Civil Rights Bill.
2026, I wouldn't say that because Tulsi is a soldier, and the point was that DEI mainly benefits white women.
It benefited white. You could look that up, fact check it. Look at Wikipedia. Ask somebody. But people are more comfortable putting a black face on everything. Like, and when we get jobs or any position, believe this, we have to work harder than everyone else. Nothing is given to us.
That's why I like
because of the color of our skin. Because of the negativity, you could be a millionaire, go in the store, pull up in a Rolls Royce, live in a penthouse with floor to ceiling windows, have all kinds of awards for whatever you could cure cancer, and you still will be followed in the store because of the stigmas, because of the labels. It doesn't matter. You can have wearing nothing but diamonds, and people are embedded to look at us in a certain way, no matter how successful, which we are some of the most successful people in the world, because the world follows foundational Black Americans. We set the culture for the world. Dancing, style, music, from rock to country to R&B to sports to athleticism to inventors to scientists to doctors to engineers. That's us. In spite of what has been done to us and continue to be done to us.
That's why like Fox News doesn't show, they just show black crime.
Yeah.
They don't show white crime.
They don't show all crime.
Yeah.
But as long as you can go to FBI and look at the FBI reports and look when the FBI, you can go online and they'll show you the crime rate and who's committing the most crimes. Go look at that. Go check that out.
Someone said, God bless you both. God bless you.
And and what happens is that we're arrested 4 or 5 times more, not because we're committing more crime. Like they went to Memphis, say Stephen Miller, he went to Memphis. I was like, how did they arrest 5,000? Ain't 5,000 people now walking around just you there, the Homeland Security, National Guard, all these people, federal agencies are there. People not walking around committing crimes. The way they were able to lock up so many Black people, they were doing traffic stops. And they were intentional. about getting quotas and getting numbers to lock up Black people. That's why they want to go into the blue states, but they don't go into the red states. They want to go into the blue states because, locking people up, that's how you keep Black people in slavery. Look, they playing chess and we still playing checkers. By the time we find out all the atrocities that are being done, and so many people are embedded to believe a certain way, that by the time we get around to it, they already doing the damage. Why do you think they don't do anything about the rapes in prison? Why they are more concerned about the detainees that are non-citizens than the welfare American people? Why don't a lot of these parties care about the homeless? They want to just move the homeless out of the way, but we're going to bring in over 14 plus million people and put them on the welfare system, because guess what? If you come in with the clothes on your back, you're getting welfare. But we got people that are Americans, that are vets, that are soldiers, that are living today. Go to your city, any city. They're on the streets, for God's sake. You can see this yourself with your own eyes. And they are Americans, but we have open arms for everyone except for our own citizens. We got to fight for everything. Our taxpayer dollars are being used how our politicians want to use them. And each party has their own agenda. But which party, someone tell me which party is a party for the American people?
Adrian, you do realize that we had to build this country unwillingly, right? That we were forced to build this country.
We were chained and enslaved people that were sold.
You're saying, yes, we built it, but other people helped too.
Sold, but they were not slaves.
Yeah.
They were not chained. They didn't have their babies ripped from them. They weren't thrown into alligators. They weren't raped, molested. They weren't butchered. They didn't do experiments on them. I mean, if you look, the atrocities that was done is just so unbelievable. They weren't chased down. They didn't have thousands of lynchings. They didn't build cities, Black Wall Street, and have it burned down to the ground. Every time we try to build up, they burned it down, killed hundreds of people, and nobody paid for it.
And that's why it's wrong Trump taking this out in museums about what's happened.
But they're doing it for a reason, because they don't want people to forget about the atrocities so they can repeat it.
Yeah.
But one thing about it, God is sitting on the throne. Nobody's going back, because the time we're living in is too advanced for people to regress. Like what they did before, you only had mainstream media. You only were fed what they wanted you to believe. But now, just like this live, you can go and find out anything. You can use Ground News, you can use ChatGPT, you can go to Wikipedia, you can add Siri, Google. There's so many search engines that you could be your own reporter. You don't have to go by list. You just don't want the truth. Because, some people, they can't handle it. They just like being lied to because they're comfortable. If they can convince you that a certain people are a certain way, then you're not looking at your life. That makes you comfortable. It makes you comfortable. But there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and I don't know. I thought Trump started out great. I was like, okay, Trump is doing a great job. We were getting hundreds and thousands of views per screen. And, YouTube doesn't change a lot. But as he continues to be president, I don't think it's wise for him to keep talking about people that he's representing, to keep talking about the left as negatively as he is, calling the name calling with elected officials and people.
TSI, dude, speak for yourself. Those are words that you do not want to live by, that God isn't saving you. Speak for yourself, dude. He said God ain't saving us, and we gotta save ourselves, and they're a lie told to us.
You know what? There's no man is not above our Creator. And see, people are so beholden to man and not beholden to God. People really think that man is in control. Even these people in these high positions really feel as though they're almighty, that they're so powerful. They're nothing to God. And the reason why they woke up today was because of the grace of God. And that's for all of us. The reason why any of us are alive today is because of the grace of God. And if you don't believe that, you won't find out one day, one way or another. Man is not powerful. We build people up, put them on pedestals, and like nothing can harm them. Trump needs to be repenting and asking God for forgiveness because he's gonna meet his maker sooner than later because just age-wise and how he's not really taking care of himself. He needs to take this opportunity and do right by all the people. Why not really be the greatest president for everybody? Why not? Why spend the last part of your years being racist towards black people? You know, black people that like he did get votes, but once he got in office, like the black reporters, he always says nasty things to the black women. He doesn't like black women. He says some horrific things to black women. And he's had some experiences, but you can't put everybody in the same boat. You know, when you're the president, you gotta rise up, rise above everyone else because he is an example for the world. And if he think that they're gonna just pay attention, they don't even the Republicans are now at odds with Trump. You know, Trump got MAGA, but he don't have all the Republicans. And I think they not paying attention to that. They don't like that they want to pass a bill. What is it called? A slush bill. They want to pass a bill to pay the January 6th people. I think they got like they want to have like 1 point something 6 or something $billion fund to pay January 6th people that infiltrated, the White House. And like so they have a problem with that. We have people that need help. And all this kicking, you know how many people are being kicked off of? He said that with 500,000 people, I forget the numbers, that he said was kicked off of food stamps. You have Americans working poor that need that $160 supplement that they were getting to help feed their families because they paycheck. You see what gas costs? People can't afford to drive to work while we're having these terror wars and while the Strait of Hormuz is closed and all these different things are going on with Iran. People have to go to work. They can't afford the gas to go back and forth to work.
Romeo, look it up because they were provided shelter and hotels. They got thousands of dollars on their EBT cards. He's saying that they don't get any of that. What they get is
look. There is no way on God's green earth that you come in 14 million people to close on your back, and you're not. They weren't getting welfare. They had nothing, while our citizens remain on the street and could not get the same benefits that was given to them, nor the protections that was given to them. These are facts. They didn't come in with money. They didn't come in with houses. They didn't come here with set up accounts and stuff. They were being taken care of. And they were strategically put in these sanctuary cities by our government. By our government. But I want this government, and even now, if I'm going to talk about the Democratic Party, which is a big turnoff for me at this point, that's why now I'm an independent voter, because I voted for Democrats and Republicans. Now I'm just totally independent. It's like whoever's going to do their job for the American people, that's who I'm going to cast my vote towards. People who are looking out for our interests. But right now, the Democratic Party does not talk about American citizens. They don't talk about inflation or food or making it better, housing. They're just fighting for the rights of non-citizens. They do not fight for the rights of the people who elected them to office. And that's crazy.
Yeah, but our ancestors were sold though.
Well, they know. If you don't know American history and you don't know the perils of Black people, what happened in this country during slavery, I suggest go to the Smithsonian, to the National African American Museum in Washington, D.C., and it will show you more than you probably could ever imagine. Okay, that's why Trump want to clean house a little bit. Go and visit that museum. Okay, go to the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. If you really want the truth and want to be educated. It's shocking. And it's so much. I took my son there like a couple of weeks ago because he'd never been to Washington. I've been so many times. I've been in the corridors of Washington, been with the different congressmen on all kinds of stuff. So I've been there numerous times. But
I didn't even want to see it.
He didn't even want to see it. But I love it that people come in from all over the world and they're seeing, they're being educated. It's not black people in it, it's white people, Asians, Latino, people from all over the world.
Yeah.
But it's history and it's a part of American history. And when you see how horrific that it actually was, it's just unbelievable that people survived it, any of it. It was bad. It was bad. Really bad. People worked up from sun up to sundown. A lot of infants died. The moms just having babies had to have the baby strap on their backs out in the hot sun. Infants on their backs, and they worked in the fields. You know, that was the easy stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm never allow anybody to take away from the contributions of people who died. They built Washington. They built the White House. Black people built that too. We built this country. We built the country, and but that's history and it's the past. So what we're focused on is today. It's today.
Well, Madame is for taking care of them instead of New York citizens.
So yeah, New York is going down. It's like the billionaires are leaving, people are leaving. They have so much. I don't even know if the mayor is even running this city because it's being run over at this point. And I think that he bit off more than he can chew. That he thought he'd be able to do things, but everybody kept telling him he couldn't. And I think that they're going to pay for. They're going to pay for making him the mayor of New York City. They're paying for it now, and it's sad to see. It's our largest city in the nation, and is going down, and that's what's up. They can't keep anything in the stores. Everything is being ramshacked, and it's a lot going on there. New York is not the same, too. Like I said, it's like Gotham City without Batman. They need a Batman in New York, to help the people. They need help there. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. And it's expensive to live in New York. And they tax you, just to go into New York if you're driving, you're paying like $18 just in tolls just to try to get into the city or more.
Look what Firefly said. Democrats were giving illegals $3,000 a month while your average Social Security check for Americans is $1,800.
That's right.
Wow.
But a lot of people don't want to hear that. And if you talk about Americans, it's like somehow it's offending non-citizens or even the Democratic Party to talk about the very people you supposed to be representing. I don't expect China to go to China and I go there and immigrate there illegally, and they're supposed to put me over their citizens. And then I get to vote in their elections. I get to get everything I never had to work for that's given to me, while their citizens are begging for food and living on the streets, and their kids aren't being taken care of. That's what happened here. And it wasn't done because the kindness of our hearts here in the United States. The Democratic Party did that because they wanted votes. They wanted another voting party. They wanted votes. And they still want those votes. And that's why they pretty much got reparations that they claimed they couldn't give to black people. They got the reparations. They said, well, we got black people. We have 93% of them. No matter what we don't do for them, they're going to vote the same way for us each and every time. They say you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. They call it insanity. Well, that's us. We're going to keep on doing the same thing because we were made to believe that the Republican Party is bad. The Republican Party is against us. But who's done more harm to us has been the Democratic Party. And it's only because we don't look at history. You don't look at what's actually been going on. We've been blindly supporting a party that didn't support us. The Republicans have actually done more for black people than the freaking Democratic Party. Who knew? Who knew? The Ku Klux Klan came from the Democratic Party. Who knew?
The Republicans were actually fighting them.
They were fighting them. And Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
I guess he was the first Republican. They freed slaves, whatever. That's just how it is. That's why I don't like history.
Yeah.
We're getting party. Somehow we flipped that the Democrats are the good guys and Republicans are the bad guys. But now it seems like because we have people that aren't elected that's in our president's ear that are telling him like he's going against his own people. The left are your citizens. Black people are your citizens. Somehow they think we do redlining, we do redistricting. We don't need the black vote. We don't need the votes. You're going to need the votes. And if they didn't need the votes, they wouldn't be fighting so hard for votes. But I don't know who to vote for at this point. Who to vote for? Democrats or the Republicans?
No one's saying anything should be free.
Who should we vote for? And then when Trump talk about mail-in ballots, that mail-in ballots is a lie. What he's saying now, I can't say that.
Alexander, the last time was the First Step Act.
Yeah.
That's what Trump passed.
He what?
That's what Trump passed in 2016.
Yeah. He said the First Step Act, that was a big deal. He got to pass through Congress, him and his son-in-law, Kushner. Obama couldn't get it done. Okay, in terms of the mail-in ballots, when it comes to security of voting by mail, studies show that voter fraud is extremely rare. The Brookings Institution reported that there have been fewer than 200 cases of mail voting fraud between 2016 and 2022, amounting to 0.000043%, or about 1 in 2.5 million. A person is more likely to get struck by lightning than to cast a fraudulent mail-in ballot. So in terms of reliability, the United States Postal Service reports that since 2020, postal workers deliver over 97% of ballots in federal elections to election officials within just 3 days. That number jumps to over 99.8% ballots delivered within 1 week. The table to the right, titled USPS Post-Election Reports, clearly illustrates that the American people can rely on us to process and deliver their ballots on time. So the Postal Service is like the most beloved federal agency this country has ever had, and it's older than this country. The Postal Office is old, we're going to celebrate 250 years for this country, but the Post Office was established prior to this country. In 1775, that's why Benjamin Franklin is the first Postmaster General, because during 1775 and then it went into 1776, he became the first Postmaster General of this country. So mail-in ballots are safe, and it's for people, they might be in a hospital.
If they're not getting $3,000 a month, then how are they surviving? Because you need money to live here. People say that you're crazy if you believe they're getting $3,000 a month.
Nobody's saying that currently. I don't know how much they're getting currently.
Again, something.
But while the Democrats were in office, they were giving them the kitchen sink and everything else. You don't come in with nothing and you all of a sudden all your needs are met. They couldn't get work permits. They weren't working. They didn't have jobs. They couldn't legally work. They put them in the sanctuary cities, and they were even complaining about the food, that it wasn't of their culture. They didn't want the food, so they even tried to give them the food that they wanted. But all this stuff is true. All this stuff you can find out for yourself. And it costs us more for them to be here. That people don't like saying, oh, they pay tax. No, they don't pay all taxes. You know what? I need to post that. I know I got it on one of my others that I broke it down, a response to someone that they say pay tax. No, they don't. They pay certain taxes, the ones, but they don't pay like people think. And we're paying more for them to be here than they're giving back to this country. And you can find out all this stuff. You can find out on your own. But I need to probably post that so people can see the actual numbers and what is costing us for them. It's not a plus for this country. It requires a lot more from us.
Now Romeo saying, LOL, he thinks illegal immigrants don't work. Haha, they work harder than most Americans.
And that's a lie. I'm so tired of that violent lie that immigrants work harder than most. That's a lie.
You said illegal?
And that illegal immigrants. Americans are tired of being like they're lazy or Americans don't work. Y'all illegal aliens don't work any harder than American citizens. And that needs to stop. They didn't go through what people, especially Black people, went through in this country, and they're benefiting from our struggles and the legislations and things we have passed in this country that benefits them as well through us.
They didn't go through what Black people went through,
What nobody with Native, they didn't go through what anybody went through, and it's supposed to have this certain entitlement that when you talk about Americans, it's like taboo, like it's our country. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
But to say to try to put Americans down, to put them up, and we're not talking about the immigrants that been here prior to Biden's administration. They came in with the American dream. They came in wanting to live the life that they felt as though the land of milk and honey. They went and applied for their citizenship. They sought to get the certificate of naturalization. They sought to learn about the history of this country, to have an understanding. They came and wanted to be part of the culture of the country. The people came in now, the ones that have been given everything, feel they're entitled. The ones that came in before, they didn't come here with certain entitlements. They came in to respect this country and to work, but they didn't come in putting down Americans to get ahead. You know how people for you to be big, we're going to put you down and put us up here.
No, TSI, who you should actually take your frustration out on are illegal immigrants, because they got everything handed to them. Not us, not Black people. He's saying Black people want everything handed to them.
And that's a lie from hell. That's a lie. What's been handed to Black people? Slavery? Is that good enough for you? What's good enough? Being last hired, being mistreated, being labeled, being just typecast or whatever, not being promoted for jobs that you're more qualified than everybody that's in the room. We're engineers, doctors, lawyers, multimillionaires, billionaires. You know how much money that's in the foundational Black American community? Are you kidding me? We're trendsetters. We're educated. All of us are. My daughter just got her master's degree. My other son got 3 degrees. He's in college. My mother has a PhD. My whole entire family are educated. Everybody, all the cousins, masters. We're educated. My entire extended family. We all drive luxury cars. We all own single homes. All of us. And we work for it. Nothing has been given. Nothing is given to Black people.
This is when they get emotional about her. Now he's saying the N-word.
But you know what? That shows that you have no character. That shows that you can't even speak in a clear, concise manner to even refute what I'm saying. So you emotional, you sensitive, and you're a grown ass man,
their picture, their real name,
grown ass person that you want to dish out your spew your hate and dish out. Look, that does not offend us.
Just reporting that.
Yeah, report. That don't offend us. That just shows how weak you are. You can't even handle the truth without the name calling or without, you can't belittle us. What has been done is there's no belittling us. We're not offended. Yeah. We're not offended. It's like people wanted they think using the N-word, we're not offended. You know, the white people call each other the N-word and Hispanics here. It's like we done made a negative word cool. Then we say that's my,
all the most popular songs these days, all the white people and
they sing it. Everybody, they say sing it. We're not offended because we took something that was derogatory and we done made it, swagged it out, and made it cool. That's like we awesome. Do. Everybody want our swag, want our culture, want our style, want our music. Everybody try to dance like us, dress like us, talk like, be like us, everything because we have style. We're creative people. And all of us, and this is loving everyone, but I don't believe you got to put down a race in order to build yourself up. That makes you look small. Yeah. You got to put someone down that don't make you look bigger. That make you look insecure. or sensitive. So be at it. We don't care. I don't care. I know that I'm made in the image of God. I am perfectly and wonderfully made. I'm the apples of God's eye. I care about what God thinks of me. I don't care about some stupid word. You know all the words that we can shoot back at you?
Now so in the chat making up a lie about us saying we put him down about being in the military.
Put him down.
He was in an old stream. He's just trying to get people angry.
You know what? It's okay because we already said in the streets, like my son was in the military. His wife is military. My cousins, my uncle is chief of Navy. All of us, we come from even a military family. What are you talking about? We salute our soldiers. We always talk about helping the vets and feeding the vets. Look at some of my playlists, all the different shows with hundreds and thousands of views that we talk supporting our vets and our military. We say thank you for your service. We don't think any of them should be on the street. So don't even tell that lie. Don't even tell that lie.
Some of them do because some Americans are homeless and illegal immigrants are getting taken care of.
There's a lot of Americans are homeless. They're not getting the benefits. I don't see how we're going to help millions of people while our people, they're using my taxpayer dollars for people who have entered this country illegally while we have American citizens that can't, they digging from the trash. They sleep on cold streets in the winter. They don't have shelter. They living in cars. They living in vans. I'm not for that. You go to any country, they are not going to put you first over their citizens. They're not going to do what happened here. But we have so many crooked politicians. They didn't do it because of the kindness of their heart. They didn't care who came in this country. They didn't vet anybody. The worst part about it, look at all the people that came in that shouldn't be here. All the prisons that were emptied out, all of the ISIS and 350 terrorists and over 11,000 convicted murderers and 15,000 convicted rapists and you got 50,000 Chinese nationals and you got ISIS, we have everybody is here now. That's what they did with the open border and 2 million gotaways. That's what they did. What country does that?
You gotta thank my brother for his service. Now they said I thank you for your service, Elijah. You gotta thank
yeah, so you can't go there with us. Only thing we're saying is take care of our citizens, get them off the street. What is wrong with that?
Then how about 2026? You look it up with ChatGPT and tell us how much they're paying illegal immigrants. Because you're saying it's a disgrace we're passing on. They're paying them $3,000 a month. That was someone said that in the chat, but they're paying them something. They're not just here not having any money.
A lot has been given to them. You can look at from the time that they opened the borders until Biden got voted out of office and see how much already had been spent on the actions of the past administration.
It costs us billions of
You just look at that. I don't know, it was 400 billion or whatever.
Yeah.
The numbers are through the roof.
That's a great point.
Through the roof. Look it up from 2020 or whatever to say 2024 and look at it from that and since Trump been in office, what the numbers are now. But it didn't help our country. They never you don't need 14 million people to pick fruit. We don't even have that many farms. We want them taking care of them. They didn't bring them in because they needed them to work. You got Americans that are unemployed. They brought them in for votes. They didn't bring them here because we needed them to come in to save America. They brought them in for power. Let's be clear, and I'm going to get off of this. It's always about power and money. Remember that. All this, while you fighting and don't want to believe stuff, it's not about you. It's about people at the top. It's about power and money. That's it.
2026, you could look it up, but some illegals did vote in the last election. You could look that up.
Because you got states that don't require voter.
Yeah.
They don't require you showing ID.
That's why Trump is trying.
And that's why I don't believe, and I do. That's one thing I agree with Trump. I don't believe that someone that's not a citizen of this country should be deciding our elections. That's a fact. I can't go to Russia and decide their election. I can't go to Australia and decide theirs. I can't go to UK and vote in their elections. You should not be able to vote in our elections and decide the outcome of any candidate to a country that you're not a citizen. And they have every right to go to their country of origin. They can still vote in their country. They can vote in there, but I can't go to their country. I can't go to Venezuela and vote, but they can go back to Venezuela and vote.
So now Romeo's posting what ChatGPT said.
So anyway, anything you want to find out, you can find out. And I'm gonna break it down. And it's like you gotta ask Chat to go in and you gotta ask the questions of what's going on. But you do not go out. If I went to a country with no money and the clothes on my back, how am I surviving without being put on their welfare? How did they get Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP benefits, cash benefits? How their kids are in our schools. Our kids are some of the dumbest kids in the world, even after COVID. And now the teachers had the task with no extra money that they were given the responsibility with children who couldn't even speak the language. While our kids in the same classes, they're not even being taught because the teachers have to spend extra time teaching these children, and we're paying for all of this. Do you understand that?
And Romeo, Chat doesn't know people, what people think and what people feel. It doesn't know people's motives. Just because it doesn't have evidence Democrats brought in illegals to vote doesn't mean
they did. You think they brought them in for the kindness of their heart? There's always an agenda. There's always an agenda. They were flying them in. And Biden kept saying he couldn't close the border. And Biden didn't need to go through Congress to close the border. Kamala Harris was the border czar. And you can look at, I forget which Congress it is. Her name is written there. She was the border czar. They did nothing. And before Trump got in office, they were trying to sell the rest of the border for pennies on the dollar.
crazy.
They were flying them in. They were trying to get as many people in here within the span of 4 years. When I campaigned for Biden, and boots on the ground and canvas, and had my people doing phone banking, doing the whole 9 yards for him. The whole thing was met all the different candidates. It was from Bernie Sanders. Everybody was running at that time, giving speeches, rallies, doing the whole 9 yards. I was doing. I never knew that the agenda was to open up the borders, and it wasn't going to be about the American people. If I had known that that was the agenda for the Democratic leadership, I would have never supported Biden. I thought that he was going to get done what Obama didn't get done, especially for the Black community, because they always make the promises they don't keep. But I was fooled, and I'm done with all of it. I'm done. Democratic Party is never going to do anything for the Black community. Black community got to wake up and stop voting just because. Just keep voting for a party that's not supporting you. You got to vote for the party that's going to give you something back. Yes. Period. Let them earn our votes. Period.
It's not good too because it's not good how our community feels about Republicans, because if they find out that you have voted Republican or even independent,
they cut you off. Yeah. Oh yeah, they cut you off because we're supposed to be like. You're not supposed to be an independent thinker. You're supposed to keep doing what everybody else is doing because the boogeyman is bad. Now, I'm saying when Trump came in, he was fantastic, but now he's going left, and I don't know. I'm going to look at, I don't know that they think that they have the next election in the bag, 2028. They're making all the moves. Each party does stuff to not legitimately, it seemed like, win elections. It's like everybody got something up the sleeve in order to try to take these elections, but you're not going to be able to take the elections without the people. You're going to still need people to vote you into office. And right now, I think that Trump is losing more votes, not just from the Republican Party, and he's losing votes from MAGA, and the votes and the support that he received, like those 2 million Black men, and now they're trying to lock them all up. That's a done deal. That's a done deal, and just not do anything for the Black community. You just want to give us with people who want to twerk and shake their butt and put Planned Parenthood out there, eliminating babies at the DNC. They were literally eliminating babies. And that was their campaign was on abortion. Are you kidding me? Not policy, They ran on abortion.
That's another thing too. It's
That's
like
the sickest stuff I've ever heard.
that's another thing. It's like I'm not gonna vote for JD Vance, and I'm saying that like white people don't have to apologize to black people when we never asked for an apology. But the only way that I might have considered it if Tulsi was going to be a part of his ticket, but now it looks like she's not going to run for the next election. So
yeah, she might not run.
Yeah.
Like if her husband's going through what he's going through and all this stuff that's going on, for her to have to, I don't know. We don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. They just tell us what they want us to believe. We don't get the intelligence. We don't get the briefings and stuff. Like they only let us know what they want us to know. So I don't know what's going to go on.
Like
but JD Vance, a lot of people, he's not Trump. JD Vance is not Trump. And he's kind of smug, and people see his smugness,
you know. You don't have to apologize to black people.
Well, you know, I thought what would have been a good ticket for the Republicans would have been Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
He's Secretary of State. Marco Rubio talked to world leaders, and he has a relationship rapport and knows how to talk to the world. I think Marco Rubio, and if you had one a strong woman, I thought Tulsi and him would be a good ticket. Now, JD Vance, I don't know.
And Byron.
Byron trying to be the governor of Florida. He's that dude is messed up. I used to support him until I found out more about him. That he's a messed up guy, Byron Donalds, and I'm sad to say it, but I'm not. This is not about him today. But we can't win. We can't win. I mean, people, they throw money at you and power and titles. People get sold out for these titles and power. They're not about the people, and that's how it is. You know, and people think that all this stuff happened because of the goodness of the Democratic Party hearts. They didn't open up the borders because the goodness of their hearts. They opened up the borders because it was about retaining power. They thought that it was going to be, they have them to vote in the last election. They was trying to retain power. And they still never gave up the mission to try to make it legalized. Look at, they had Kilmar.
Yeah, Kilmar, Rego Garcia.
Yeah, Rego Garcia. He was the poster child for the illegal immigrants. We had spent, $5 million on him just from court proceedings, and they were saying that he needed due process. Sent him to Venezuela, brought him back. He got more money from a GoFundMe than, I don't know, than everybody. But it's been a really, we end up living in the last days because this has been a whirlwind. People call them right, wrong, and wrong, right. And that's how it is.
2026, why are you defending people who broke the law so much? You do realize they broke the law coming into this country, right?
Well, people are going to pick and choose what laws to follow. Yeah. So we're going to pick and choose what laws to follow because God forbid that Americans are supposed to follow all the laws. That we're not supposed to pick and choose what law. And to have people come into our country and respect this country. You see how they was doing it? They were burning flags, tearing the country up. They don't respect this country. They don't even think they're supposed to follow the law because they got Americans telling them, you don't have to follow our laws. So why should they? Why should they? Why follow the laws? That the laws are just for us. None. They're not supposed to come into this country and follow our laws, respect our laws. They're not supposed to seek legal citizenship. They're not supposed to apply for citizenship. They're not supposed to get on the waiting list or whatever and go through the years to become a citizen like the other legal immigrants who respect this country. They don't even want them to just be legalized like that because they had to pay, they had to learn, and they went through a lot to become citizens of this country. And we don't want to hold them to the same standards. Something is wrong with that picture. Don't hold them to the same standards as required. You want to be American, be held to the same standards as Americans. Be held to the same standards. Well, anyway, it's okay. You know, the truth is the truth. And people don't want to know the truth. And this is about just doing right by the American citizens because we've been pooped on by both parties. And it's sad. I feel like there's no in between. Where do we go from here? Who do we vote for? Who do we support? You know, it's like difficult, to what I don't know in 2028 who I'm a campaign for, who I'm going to support. I'm still trying to figure it out. And I'm most definitely going to be boots on the ground. Most definitely am going to be speaking out about, we need to look at the records of these candidates. Stop just voting for people because they give a good speech, but their record is showing the opposite. We have to stop that. We have to vote for people that want to better, that looking for the welfare of all its citizens, and stop talking about the left is like this and the right is like this. How about we're one nation under God? How about that? We're one nation. When we elect a president, he's the president of all the people. He's not just a president of, if you're a Democrat, he's not just the president of Democrats. If he's a Republican, he's not just the president of Republicans. They're the president of all Americans.
2026. See, that's what people do when they are talking about illegal immigrants. They try to say just immigrants. We're not talking about illegal immigrants. We're talking about
They know the difference.
Yeah.
They know nobody's talking about legal immigrants. Nobody is talking, you know that. You know that none of this conversation has been about legal migrants or people entering this country. This country has nothing but migrants in it. So that's not the topic. The topic is the action of the Biden administration when they opened up the borders. That never happened before. We had millions of people pouring into this country. And when they couldn't get enough coming through the borders, they start flying them in. That's what we're talking about. They didn't go through the process. The other migrants went through the process. The ones that's been here for years, they stayed on the radar, but they came in, they work hard, and they respect the country. The ones that came in now, because nothing was required of them, it's like giving your child everything. They don't respect it, but they don't have to work for it. If your child didn't work to get their first car, and you just give them a car, they don't care about that car because they didn't earn it. When they had to work and save their money, they shine that car, take care of that car, make sure that car got, they love it. Because when things are given to you, you don't have the same respect. You have, so when you earn it, it's a big difference.
Don't put that community with us, Crank. Being black is completely different from choosing what you want to be.
They talking about sex. Sexual.
What you're into. Trying to lump that with black.
Yeah, nah, don't lump that with us. Everybody got their own, situations. Everybody got their own situations.
You can't choose your race.
And that's what the Democratic Party did. They threw them all with black people, gay people, transgenders, and everybody got lumped up. But when we were going through slavery and the Civil Rights Act and all that, we were not lumped up. But all these different, I don't know what to call them. They all got lumped somehow with us, like we're one movement, and we're not.
Yeah,
we're not. Well, that's why all this stuff has been happening to the black community, while the Democratic Party and the Congressional Black Caucus, and the NAACP, they've been focused on non-citizens, and they dropped the ball on Black Americans, and that's why all these things has been happening to the community, and we're losing more rights. That look at the Supreme Court ruling that they just did. They stripped away more rights from that Civil Rights Act. So go check it out. So we're losing what our forefathers died for, and the accomplishments that they did, from Martin Luther King to all of the prior leaderships or whatever, that a lot is being lost under this current administration. They're trying to take us backwards, and is a lot that's going on. And the thing I like about now is the internet. Everything is out there for us to see. They're not even hiding it. Nothing is even being hidden. It's out in the open. But as long as they can gaslight you and let you think it ain't going on, and that's all that matters. They got you thinking back in the day instead of what's actually happening in today's time. But it is happening. A lot is happening. and a lot of control is going
So
on.
I said Obama and Biden removed more illegals than Trump.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely. The Obama was the deporter in chief, but he didn't. Nobody fought ICE. Nobody was out there doing all this. He deported over 3 million people. He didn't go through any of this. He even had kids in cages. So, but he didn't have MS-13 gang members and Trinidad Raga and everything that we got and ICE and all this stuff that we have now. He didn't even have that. I never even heard of all these different titles and gangs and stuff. I just learned this, all this stuff since they had opened up the borders. It's crazy. Yes, he did. He got them right out of here. No problem. No problem. These people could commit crimes in real time, and Trump can't get he's not really getting anybody out of here. To be honest, they not getting rid of people.
Well, it's the good thing though, they are stopping like lesser coming in.
Yeah, the only thing that Trump has accomplished is closing the borders because this country couldn't sustain more people coming in. You got to feed people, you got to house people, you got to clothe people. We're $39 trillion in debt. We don't even have the money. Bank of America is closed. We don't even have the affordability to take care of the ones that came in during the last administration. So the only thing that I think that he really accomplished was closing the border. Pretty much, just the border being closed. That's the only thing he really accomplished. Because the Democrats have made up their mind. They fighting them tooth and nail. Keep them here. They don't care who's here, what they do. They fight him tooth and nail on it. So he's not accomplishing what Obama did by far, or what Biden did, deporting illegal immigrants.
Yeah, like someone said, the border wall bill Obama has started. The media was quiet, but when Trump came in, the media went wild.
Yeah. They did.
Obama was doing everything to stop
everything. And that's how he got millions of them out. But this is how it is. And that's why I thank God that we have the internet now, because the whole point, even the show, is just to find the truth. Whatever the truth is, just find the truth. That's what's important. The truth is what's important. We got so many people lying to us and misleading us and misinformation, and people try to influence and get us to think how they want us to think instead of what the truth really is. And as long as they can have us angry at one another, fighting each other against one another, we're not looking at the people that's responsible for all of this. The illegal immigrants, they didn't ask for any of this. Our government opened up those borders. So come on in. We're going to take care of you. We're going to give you free education. We're going to give you everything. And they came, and I don't blame them for that. It's not their fault.
I think the company, was it Tyson, had a lot higher?
Yeah, Tyson got rid of 50,000 people, I think, because they wanted to get them the jobs. Why pay Americans living wage jobs to be able to take care of their family? You can pay people under the table for a lot less. But it's a lot of stuff that's going on. So you guys just stay educated about what's going on, what you don't know, and we by far don't know everything. We're learning together, and this is not against anybody. But we're not going to hide, act like the truth isn't the truth because people are uncomfortable. We want to make it so that we all can do well. All of us need to do well. And Americans especially need to be doing well. But somehow that's a problem. And I don't understand that. That's a problem. You talk about Americans doing well.
I think this song said,
what?
I complimented you. They said we should all be one people. I especially think that the lady presenting is aggressively good looking.
Thank you. God bless you. Anyway, you guys, I'm hungry. We're gonna get off of here. We still, believe it or not, have not seen the movie Michael because I've been so busy. I've been traveling. We got to go to the movies and see Michael. I love Michael. I wish to God his nephew would do a tour because I would go see him perform.
On Netflix really fast.
You can talk. They say don't hear because I want to get off. Tell them about Netflix. What's happening?
I'll save that.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, anyway, don't support Netflix. They trying to like throw some other stuff in there. People just want to see Michael, the performer, Michael, music, Michael. We just want to see Michael. Just want to see Michael. So anyway, you guys, God bless you. God bless America. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe to Speak the Truth 2.0. I got 2 other channels I need to work on that I haven't been doing, and I want to upload, but this stuff takes so much time, and life is busy. So I really want to give more to this channel than I've been doing. And thank you guys for taking the time to support us. We can agree to disagree. This is not a shot at anyone. It's just like having an understanding. And that's what the chat is for you guys to, talk about it.
Mutual agreement.
Yeah, just talk about what's going on, what's happening.
Agree
and
to
what
disagree.
You agree to disagree. What do you want for this country? Where do you see the future of this country? What direction are we going in? There's a lot of stuff that's going on that it might get a lot worse before it gets better, because there's a lot of stuff that I didn't even cover on here. Like, we need to be prepping. It's stuff that's heading our way as far as the country. And this Iran war, Trump was thinking it'll be, once we got involved, it'd be one and done, that it'd be over with. It's still going on. So hopefully it doesn't become an endless war like what's happening to Russia and Ukraine. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. As always, God bless you. Peace out. See you in the next live. We're gonna try to come on here every day. We gotta build this channel back up because we haven't been coming on enough. So anyway, God bless you. And don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe to Speak the Truth